Every so often, there's a perfect storm. A game releases which is somehow brand spanking new and ultra modern, but simultaneously historic and nostalgia filled. In 2019, that game is Resident Evil 2 Remake. Whether you are skeptical of remade titles, or you are unbelievably hyped for the incoming zombie apocalypse, here's 21 things you should know about the Resident Evil 2 Remake.
He's gone.
Here's a quick overview. Resident Evil 2 is set shortly after a zombie virus was unleashed on the world in the mountains above the city. Gradually, the infection made it into the city, and now everyone is dead, apart from a very small percentage of inhabitants. RE2 is a survival horror game set in third person and is not for the faint-hearted. Jump scares, blood and guts, tense moments are ingrained in the entire outing, and there's simply not enough bullets to kill everything we face. Survival horror games are known for their difficulty, so here's something to take to heart. Resident Evil 2 Remake uses adaptive difficulty. So what the hell does that actually mean? If you've played Resident Evil 4, you've already experienced it. Depending on how well, or in my case, how utterly badly I did, the game will analyse your performance and adapt the difficulty to suit. If you're an unstoppable juggernaut, expect more fights with aggressive enemies. If you're getting your ass handed to you, the game will ease off to prevent your experiences from being ruined. There are two playable characters to choose from at the outset of RE2, Claire and Leon. Claire is a college student arriving in Raccoon City to look for her brother, Chris Redfield, the same chap who first encountered the zombie virus in Resident Evil 1, and also the guy who really enjoys children's playgrounds in Resident Evil 6. Don't judge him. Also note that Claire is a biker chick with a love of Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Claire knows how to handle herself, as her military-trained brother, Chris, made sure she knew how to take down unruly guys on college campus and use a firearm if the need arises.
Leon.
Get down! Come on!
On the flip side of that, we have Leon Kennedy, a rookie cop, literally on his first day in the Raccoon City Police Department. So if you see a birthday party in the game, it's likely his welcoming committee who didn't have such a great day. Leon is in his early 20s, and although he's a firearms expert, he's inexperienced as a cop and tries a little too hard to get everything done by the book.
There has to be someone here.
There's a reoccurring stumbling block with remade games. Why the heck would we buy a game we've already experienced? Well, to put those thoughts at ease, everything in RE2 has been updated, and although areas will feel the same and invoke the same sense of nostalgia, everything will be unique. Similar locations and story beats, but nothing will be the same. So if you finished the original back in 1998, you won't know what to expect. Well, not completely anyway. The major plot points and enemies will return, just not exactly how you'd expect them to. Ultimately, what I'm saying is, do you need to have played the original? Heck no.
Got it.
New mechanics have brought this game from 1998 kicking and screaming into 2019. Here's 5 of them. Knives and other weapons picked up will automatically be used when grabbed by a zombie or other beast. This is taken from the OG Resident Evil Remake. These are defensive weapons designed to keep the action flowing and to give you a fighting chance. And they look damn cinematic and badass too. Back in 1998, a piece of cabling allowed Leon or Claire to use security shutters in a single corridor to keep that safe from the invading undead. This was a great inclusion as we were forced to decide which hallway was the best strategy. Fast forward 21 years and this function returns, but with a significant overhaul. The Fortification system allows our heroes to collect stacks of wooden boards, which do exactly that, board up windows, to make corridors a little safer. Sadly though, unlike 1998, the zombie hordes will eventually break through again, so it's more of a respite than a permanent safety zone. Improvements in combat have been implemented also. We are told each enemy type has a weakness to take advantage of. For example, the lickers, those ones that look like inside-out clicky buggers, are in fact blind. If you have the cojones, it's possible to creep past unharmed, but it's such a huge risk and is so tense doing so. In addition, we have the choice to incapacitate enemies rather than wasting bullets killing them, like blowing off the limbs of a zombie. The great thing is, he'll remain on the ground for the entire game. Revisit him 6 hours later and the little ankle biter is still there waiting to tear your Achilles apart. Another issue which caused a great deal of frustration in the 90s was inventory management. Our characters have concealed fanny packs with limits on how much you can shove in there. If you're not a traditional English speaker, check the comments, I'm sure someone will explain that vulgar joke to you. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, inventory. To combat these issues, our helpful map will add an icon to any item we've left behind. The days of memorizing locations have gone. Huzzah! Weapons and gadgets have been slightly adapted too, with the most apparent this one, the electromagnetic field visualizer. I'm just going to call it an X-ray gun, is that alright? This item is completely new and is used to see through walls to find electrical components. This will be our break from shooting zombies to include an additional level of puzzle solving. I'm sure you've noticed that lady isn't Claire. She's Ada, one of the secondary characters in the game. When playing as Leon, Ada will be around to accompany you, and occasionally will fill those stilettos and become the femme fatale Ada Wong. To those that don't know the RE series, Ada Wong is a cornerstone, but I don't want to talk about her anymore because her plot twist, to new players, is worth protecting. Claire's secondary character is Sherry Birkin, the daughter of umbrella scientists William and Annette. It's uncertain we'll play as her at this moment in time, but I'll bet my hat we will. Her diminutive size is perfect for fitting into small gaps, accessing areas unavailable to Claire. Sherry is also central to the plot, but again, let's not spoil things. So we've briefly talked about returning locations having a slight overhaul to be modernised. In addition to this are entire brand spanking new areas nobody has experienced before. One such location is the Orphanage. We know nothing about it at the moment, but it proves that Raccoon City is indeed larger than we remember it. In 1998, Resident Evil 2 used fixed camera angles to move around the world, causing great frustration when firing blindly out of picture. In this updated version, Resident Evil uses the tried and tested over-the-shoulder third-person perspective, as introduced in RE4 and perfected in RE6. Gone are those fixed camera angles. Some veterans will be a little upset to see this modernisation, and to those I remind them of the hidden feature in RE5 Lost Nightmares DLC, which allowed those fixed camera angles to be unlocked. Let's quickly address an issue with early Resident Evil games, the English voice acting and direction. It's not great, it's a bit bad.
Leon.
It's so bad it's good, in fact.
Sorry, but it looks like your party has been cancelled. What happened?
This was due to a language barrier in the 1990s, as the Japanese developed game hired English voice actors, but didn't have the means to understand if their performance was up to scratch, or the translation was right for a Western audience. Thankfully, both the voice acting and the script writing in the remake are simply sublime. Heartfelt moments are believable, the horror no longer thrives on jump scares, although they are there, with the realistic character murmurings giving authenticity to each scene.
Jesus.
Resident Evil 2 Remake is confirmed to include extra game modes, namely the Fourth Survivor, which puts us in the shoes of Hunk, an Umbrella special agent. The Fourth Survivor was sent into Raccoon City to collect something integral to the game's story. Essentially, the Fourth Survivor is a mini-game set at a higher difficulty and against the clock. Let's say no more just in case new players are listening. On top of that is the Tofu Survivor. I never unlocked it back in 1998, but if I did, it would have replaced Hunk with a giant block of tofu, with only a knife for comfort. Strange, but true. Attire and costumes have always been a part of Resident Evil. In fact, many of Capcom's games utilise changes of attire. For fans of the original, both Leon and Claire's classic costumes are available and unlockable in-game, for free I might add. But with different versions of RE2 Remake comes other costumes. The Deluxe Edition gives Leon a Rick Grimes-inspired Walking Dead sheriff costume and an Evil Within-inspired noir suit. Claire also receives a noir variant and military attire too, but it's the Elsa Walker costume which will make Resident Evil fans giddy with excitement. Here's a quick history lesson. Elsa Walker was the intended lead female character in Resident Evil 2, a motorcycle racer, as you can tell by her leathers. The game was eventually dropped and development restarted as the RE2 we know and love. Elsa was changed to Claire and linked to the first game via her brother Chris. The only comparison that made it to the redesign was her love of motorcycles. In 2013, the cancelled game was found and renamed Resident Evil 1.5. 20 years passed and Capcom have finally acknowledged the project in this costume. What a great touch. We've already started down the path of pre-order bonuses and game editions, so let's double down on that now. The standard edition of Resident Evil 2 Remake includes Chris and Jill's weapons from the original Resident Evil, the Sacred Samurai Edge, and also an exclusive theme if bought digitally on console. The Deluxe Edition has all that, plus Wesker's iconic version of the Samurai Edge, those additional costumes we talked about, and the ability to play the game with the original score. Definitely one to please the millions of die-hard fans. Get this version physically, and the cover art is reversible. There's also a Steelbook edition which includes that Elsa Walker skin. On top of that is the usual collector's edition which has slight differences depending on where you are in the world. All versions come with 10 inches of Leon, what more could you want? The UK version comes with a set of keys which are absent from the US version, so I advise double checking what's available in your locale. Oh, and guess what? There's even a premium edition which comes with a functioning keyboard designed to look like the old in-game save points, i.e. those typewriters complete with ink ribbons. If you're one of those people who like 4K gaming, then be joyous. It's here in Resident Evil 2 Remake. Both the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X will be able to take advantage of this option, but frame rate will be capped at 30 frames per second. Personally, the next option has me excited. Again, the Pro and One X will have the option to play at 60 frames per second at 1080p. Frame rate as smooth as a baby's butt. We're still left in the dark about the frame rate on the standard PS4 and Xbox units. So when does it come out? Resident Evil 2 Remake releases on January 25th on PS4, Xbox and PC. Are you grabbing it? I definitely am and will be playing on release day on the channel. If you'd like to see some initial gameplay, come visit. As I'm writing this, the Resident Evil 2 Remake demo has finally been announced. Running between January the 11th and January 31st, you can download the one-shot demo. In this demonstration, you will be tasked with surviving 30 minutes in Raccoon City. You'll be able to restart, but the moment your 30 minutes elapse, the demo ends and a final trailer for the game is revealed. You literally only get one shot at this demo, 30 minutes, and it's gone forever. Those 30 minutes will help you decide if the RE2 Remake is your kind of game. Before I sign off, I wanted to bring one last thing to your attention. Let me explain. One of the most impressive elements introduced in RE2 was the Zapping system. The game was essentially broken into two playthroughs, one from Leon's perspective and one from Claire. What 1998 RE2 did so well was have the first playthrough affect the second. Weapons picked up by, say, Leon would not be available to Claire during her run. If a boss somehow managed to survive an encounter with one protagonist, they'd return in the second playthrough. As we could choose either character to begin with, there was essentially 4 playthroughs of Resident Evil 2 to experience before we'd seen everything. At the time, that was mind-blowing and added so much replayability to an already fantastic game. This time around, from the outset, Capcom told us the zapping system is not in the game, but recent evidence says otherwise, with articles in official PlayStation magazine alluding to the zapping system returning. Could it be on the way back? I can't say for certain, but Capcom have a history of redirecting our expectations. Before Resident Evil 7 dropped, we were promised no returning characters, only for Chris Redfield to suddenly show up unexpectedly.
I'm Redfield.
We shall wait and see on January 25th. Right, thanks for your time, I appreciate it. If you're still here, tell me who would win in a fight between Chris, Jill, Claire, Leon and Ada. My money's on Ada. I'm Adam from PlayStation Grenade. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next time.